Without advocacy, we wouldn't have progress. Advocacy is the tool people use in democracy to bring about change for the better.
SMILES is a center for independent living. The purpose, the goal is to help people with disabilities live a full and complete life as much as their disabilities will allow them to do that.
Well, it was created, I guess, with an idea from some parents about 27 years ago who thought there was a need to deliver services to people with disabilities. So they started the organization, went through all the paperwork, and that could be a real pain. But once they got everything up and going, we've been in existence for over 25 years now.
Well, when I came, SMILES had been open for 2 years, so it did have a little bit of history, but my role initially was to help the agency grow, to look at different resources of funding and what other things, what other programs need to happen.
In 1990, services offered to consumers consisted of the 4 basic core services of information and referral: peer counseling, advocacy, and independent living skills training. People who haven't heard about SMILES sometimes ask, what is the Center for Independent Living? It's a philosophy, a way of life, and a place where people can get information and support to be successful with disability. When we allow others to believe disability is a deficiency, we perpetuate a myth and create a false expectation that services and supports can somehow eliminate needs.
People with disabilities were talking about the fact they can't get in and out of the post office. And because of that, they were funneled around and had to go into the back of the post office in order to get in. And we kept hearing, promises that, we're working on this situation. And after a number of years, I think the people didn't see it going anywhere. So there was a number of people got together and decided, well, it's time to try and push this along, and they did pick up the post office for a time being. Shortly after that, I think they took the people seriously, and if you look at it now, they built a ramp there.
The lesson is a simple one. As Martin Luther King said, it is an historical fact that the privileged groups seldom give up their privileges voluntarily. Individuals may see the moral light and voluntarily give up their unjust posture. But as we are reminded, groups tend to be more immoral than individuals. We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntary. It must be demanded by the oppressed.
It's this idea of access and opportunity. Right? During the Civil Rights Movement, it was about African Americans trying to gain equal and accessible rights within a community. I believe the same is said for the disability movement, and that is, how do we ensure that anyone who wants access and opportunity within a community has that chance? And so we can't kind of guarantee equal results, but we can guarantee equal access and opportunity.
Movements of people, are probably the most important movements. So the disability rights movement, the independent living movement, the self-advocacy movement, these are all civil rights movements. And that's what we're really talking about, is civil rights for people, basic human rights for people. Movements that start to challenge us as a nation, us as a people, our communities, around how do we ensure that people have the rights, the protections, the opportunities, the obligations as members of a community, as members of our nation.
Transportation can be a challenge. Meeting the basic needs that they have in their lives can be a challenge. Independence is a challenge. So that's where we come in and we try to help people with disabilities maintain their independence in society.
1975, Education of All Handicapped Children Act requires free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment possible for children with disabilities.
I left home when I was like 6 years old, and I went to Worthington to a handicapped school because I needed some special help, where they gave me exercises and stuff like that. I couldn't go home every night, so I missed my mom and dad a lot. And the hardest thing is when I started there, they said they didn't want your family to come and visit you for like a month. And that was pretty hard, because when you're that age, you want to be around your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters. And so after that month went by, my mom and dad would try and come and see me at least once every 2 weeks. And then we'd go out for supper, go shopping when they came. Because for them to come and give me a round trip was like 225 miles.
Well, again, people can come into our facility, and we teach them how to cook, we teach them how to do other things, and to help maintain daily routine. We have technology, access to technology and the internet, so people come in and get on the internet and do some things that normally they could not.
To make sure that we as a community were embracing them, we're providing access and opportunity, and this idea of equity, meaning that all of us have an opportunity to, in a sense, live the life that we want to live.
Well, I've been acquainted with Smiles for probably 10 or more years. I basically started with them because I needed to find out some way to get out of the house to do shopping or other errands I needed to run, doctor's visits, anything like that, to kind of alleviate having my family to do all that. They help you to stay independent, stay from depending on living in a facility or from living in a group home, or just basically helping you keep your own independence, keep your own life. And to have somebody speak out for our rights is one of the most important things we need.
I think it's still critical that we fight for and we advocate for kind of equal standing, right, among all of our community members, especially when we know that there's data that supports that there is an imbalance or there is a disparity or an inequality that exists. And so I believe it's critical because we see that it's still prevalent within our community.
For a period of time now over the years, there's been discussion that independent living centers should get involved in a fifth core service. It's to assist people to relocate from institutions back into the community. Sometimes there are people who are in institutions who don't need to be there.
I've seen our operation triple in the time that I've been involved with it. That's in the number of clients served. So we've grown tremendously.
Having greater impact, having greater support, having greater numbers to help push forward the message of how we include folks with disabilities and varying abilities. I see that as a huge plus for our community, is that we have this constant and steady advocate for folks to get jobs, to have quality housing, to have access and opportunity to a number of things. And so I see Smiles doing great things in the future, much like they've done in the past. And I think we're seeing that some minds and hearts are being changed on how we include folks, and including folks with varying abilities or disabilities.
We've come a long way in the last 25 years, but we do have a long ways to go yet. So we look forward to your continued support in the future.
It was once said that the moral test of a government is how that government treats those who are in the dawn of life, the children, those who are in the twilight of life, the elderly, and those who are in the shadows of life, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped. Hubert H. Humphrey, 1911 to 1978.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is not an easy job. It is not the most lucrative job, but I'm sure at the end of the day, it's a very rewarding job.
Thank you for letting us have an opportunity to be part of the community.
The folks at Smiles, those who have, those who will, those who are there now currently, thank you for continuing to do the great work that you do. And I'm looking forward to the next 25 years as well.
You know, celebrate what you've accomplished. Shake off and let go of what you need to let go of. Embrace these new opportunities that are before you.
Keep going forward. Yep.
Hopefully there's a point in time when it's a situation that disability isn't an issue anymore. It's just you're working with a person. Whether they have a disability or not isn't a factor anymore. You know, and you know, if that day ever comes, people with disabilities as a minority needs to have, you treat them differently. When that day is gone, we've accomplished what we've needed to.